Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Vancouver Rain Draft Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 23. So in last episode, we took on the White Sox for the second consecutive season in the ALCS, and unfortunately we had the exact same result where we lost in 7 games. It was a pretty good series, I'd say, for the most part. Definitely we had some struggles. Like, we were very close to actually going to the World Series. You could see we had back-to-back wins here in games 4 and 5. Game 5, we won 13-0, and I was kind of contemplating in that game. I was like, we're kind of blowing them out of the water. I was like, I feel like our team is definitely going to struggle in the next game, and that's exactly what happened in Game 6, is we got shut out 6-0, and then we only lost by 1 run in Game 7, which was unfortunate. So, really sucks to go out 2 times in the ALCS to the White Sox, but hopefully next year we can get to the World Series, and hopefully we can kind of maintain this roster this offseason, because if we fall off too much, I feel like it's definitely going to hurt us. But I think we should be a better team hypothetically next year, as long as we're able to keep the team as much together as possible, like I said, because you can see our pitching rotation is only going to be getting better and better every year, because obviously Garth Howe's improving, or he's staying the same. Carmen Osuna's improving, Silva, Hyde, a lot of those guys are still growing in overall ratings, so our pitching rotation should be at its peak very soon, and hopefully the rest of the infielders can stay in our lineup and whatnot, and hopefully we can be a pretty good team to start at least next season, and maybe win a World Series like within these next I don't know, 1 to 3 seasons, because obviously we have a little bit of a tight window, I'd say, because obviously some of these guys are going to eventually be leaving the team, but if we're able to win while we still have guys like Howe and Sixto in their prime, it should be good. But if these guys start to drop off rapidly quick, that could hurt us in the long run. So there is that. And anyways, before we get into seeing who wins the World Series and also getting through the entire offseason, I do have one comment to go over, and that is from Nick Bacher-Barons OC, who says, A's have won the World Series before. Also, Silva and Gelman and Schneider clutched up. And yeah, Silva was probably the one that kind of clutched up the most, I'd say. Because, man, Silva, he was put in for 1 game, and this guy went all 9 innings with 15 strikeouts. Only gave up, I believe it was 3 hits in that game, so he was absolutely incredible. So if he could do that next year for us, we're going to be in a good spot, because we're going to have Howe. We'll probably still have Osuna and Gomez, who are going to be developing rapidly quick. Silva might stay around this overall, or he might jump up more in overall too. And then hopefully we have a better number 5 guy. But I think our pitching rotation and our bullpen is going to be really interesting to see what it looks like next year, because there is a lot of guys that could hypothetically make the jump. So I think our team should hypothetically go farther than the ALCS next year. But like again, we do have some big players up for renewal this offseason, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to bring them all back is the question, because of our money situation. If we go to 2035, you can see all these guys have R&W still, so that's okay. But we do have a couple guys, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. We have a lot of guys that would be going to arbitration right now, so at least that's not terrible. But we go to the free agent department. We'll likely lose Fletcher Hoffman, which kind of sucks in a way, because he was one of our first ever picks in the series, but we'd probably lose him. I'd like to bring back Carrillo. I hope that he doesn't ask for too much money. Then obviously we want to kind of hold on to guys like Jack Birch if possible. Bill O'Donnell, I wouldn't mind holding on to him, but we might end up losing him, which would not be great. Steve Schneider and Jeff Pipp, I probably am going to let go of Schneider out of the 2 of these guys, because I think I should hold on to at least one of them. So I might let go of Schneider. Depends on their asking prices. And then Ollie Gelman's the big one. I'm hoping he doesn't ask for another $13 million, because I might not have that type of money to give to him. So I might not even bring him back, to be honest. Because in terms of center fielders at the moment, I don't really know if we need him. Because you can see Bill Pineda, if he's healthy all year, at least we have him. And we also have Josh Groves, who could take like a full-time center fielding role too. So I don't really know if we necessarily need to bring back Ollie. I would love to bring him back, considering he's a pretty good player, but at the same time, we might have to change over that center fielding spot a little bit. But you can see with our other outfielders, though, it would be good for us to probably hold on to Bill O'Donnell, so I'm hoping that he's not asking for too much this offseason, and then we could kind of just maintain this roster, like I said, as much as possible, since next season we know our pitching should be better, and obviously batting-wise, if we could keep our roster together, it should be just as good as this year. So anyways, let's see who wins the World Series between the White Sox and Miami. I'm feeling like it's going to be the White Sox this year. Miami has went on all the way, though, from the wild card, just like Arizona did last year. But if the White Sox win, I wouldn't be surprised just because they were in the World Series last year, obviously. So let's see who ends up winning this. Let's just go sim to offseason, I guess. Yeah, let's just do that. And yep, the White Sox have won the World Series. So we lost to the best team in the league. So I think if we would have been able to win Game 7, there's a good shot we could have won the World Series, because I'm pretty sure when I looked at the Marlins roster, it was not as enticing as you would think. So yeah, the White Sox are World Series champions in 2034. They win in 6 games. Let's take a look at those World Series awards. So Evan Carter was the World Series MVP, and in postseason MVP you had Evan Carter and you had Corbin Carroll. So there we go. Okay, let's advance to the offseason and see what we could do here. I'm really hoping that we can hold this team together as much as possible. Like, I'm kind of scared about recording this episode just because of this offseason is very important for our team, but at the same time, it needs to be done. No players on our roster retired. We got to definitely keep an eye on that just in case, because some guys are getting up there in age, and then also some guys have had some injury problems. I don't know if any of these guys were drafted in the first few years, but there we go. Jose Ramirez and Corey Seager have made it into the Hall of Fame in 2034. And now we got our exclusive free agent negotiations. So these 5 gentlemen here. I would probably bring back Birch, O'Donnell, Pip, and I would want to bring back Gentleman, but I got to see what their asking prices are. We do have a budget of $66 million. That's not actually that bad, to be honest. We actually have more cap space than I thought, I think. But we do also have a lot of other contracts to dish out other than these 5 guys. So let's see what Birch is asking for, because he is 29 already. 1+ years, he only wants 2.2. That's actually not bad per season, to be honest. That's actually a really friendly deal, to be honest. 1 year, he wants only $2 million. He wasn't the best this year. We do have a lot of pitchers coming up, but I do want to extend him, I think, for at least a year. Yeah, he wasn't really that good, so I don't think I want to give him multiple years. Let's just give him a 1-year deal at 2.4. I think that's fine with me. Bill O'Donnell, what are you asking for? Not terrible. He is already 29, so we got to kind of take that into effect. If we go to like a 3-year deal, that's a little bit pricey. $19 million for 3 years, but you're thinking 5.8 a season. It's not outrageous. It's not outrageous. Yes, he was only getting paid like 2 point something before. He really didn't have the best season during the regular season, but playoff-wise he showed up. So I don't know if I want to give him multiple years. Maybe I should just give him a 2-year deal, just to play it a little bit safe. So let's do 2 years at 12. So that way he's getting like $6 million, I guess, per season, which is not really that bad. Because I don't really want to give him too much term, because I feel like he could decline starting soon. Obviously, we want him for the playoff performances more so. So yeah, 2 years at $12 million, I think I'm okay with that. Might be an overpayment, might not be. We'll see. And then we have Pip, Schneider, and Gelman. Oh boy. What is Schneider wanting? I don't really like Schneider's play. Yeah, he's asking for a bit too much for me. $6.2 million. What is Pip wanting? I feel like Pip's going to be more expensive. Yeah, Pip is drastically more expensive. But is he the better of the two? I'd say he is. Because you look at Schneider's numbers at 222 during the regular season. And then you have Pip, who is batting at 249. Yeah, both these guys haven't been ideal, but we need to hold on to one of them. Just because or else our third base pool is going to get considerably weak. Like, we do have guys coming eventually, but they're still a few years out. So I got to think on that. What is Ollie wanting? Whew. Ollie thinks he should be getting a lot of money too. Yikes. I honestly might just let go of Ollie because of this money. Like, he might be able to get signed for the exact same amount of money he was making last year. Like, wasn't he making 13? I can't tell now. I think it was 13.9. I might be okay with doing a 1-year deal, but I also want to make sure I have cap space for everybody else too. 13.9 for years. Not terrible. Not terrible. Considering Pip was wanting how much for a year? 8.1. 6 home runs, 39 RBIs at 249. And then, yeah, the 222. They're pretty similar players, these guys, but the thing is, Schneider's 29. He's likely going to decline soon. His power is... He's technically better in a way. Let's see. What's the vision looking like? 55, 69. Yeah, Pip is better vision-wise. He's also 2 years younger. I think I want to hold on to Pip for 1 year. And then Gelman, I might give a 1 year deal to. I don't know if I could afford him, really. I want to make sure I could afford the guys that I'm offering contracts to. So, 1 year deal. Let's go down to $9 million for 1 year. Yeah, $9 million for 1 year. Let's do it, Pip. Because I don't think I'm bringing back Steve, which kind of sucks in a way just because of the fact that he was our first ever pick in the series, I think. But, yeah, he hasn't necessarily turned it up a notch. So, unfortunately, I think he's going to be walking here. And then Ollie Gelman, I wouldn't mind holding on to Ollie for a year. Let's see if I could get him for 13.9 for a year. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Because then we'll have, like, I think, we'll still have, like, $30 million to get everybody else back. I might have to, like, not necessarily buy somebody out, but I should have enough cap space for everybody else. So I think Steve's the only one that's going to walk here. I'm going to try and hold on to these 4 guys especially because they're pretty important, I'd say, right now, to kind of just giving us that depth. But we'll see if they end up accepting those contracts. If they reject, they might head to free agency and sign with another team, which is always a possibility. So hopefully some of them don't. But if for some reason Pip signs with another team and Schneider's still a free agent, maybe we bring back Schneider just on a 1 year deal. Something like that. Let's advance a few days. Actually, we do need to bring in a coach and stuff, right? Yeah, hitting coach. That's a pretty important thing to bring in. So let's see if we can find one with no negatives like this guy. Let's bring him in. Hopefully he accepts that because that would be nice to have a good hitting coach in for our team. Even though our team is already really good at hitting. There you go. He accepts in the first day. That's good. Hey, look at that. A couple of those guys. So Gelman and who is the other one? Gelman and Birch have already accepted. So we're just down to Bill and Pip. And then Schneider's the only one that's obviously not going to get signed. Hey, Schneider's gone. So everybody else is accepted. So Pip is back for a year. Which you guys might be like, why bring him back? Well, you see, if we lose both Pip and Schneider, we're basically down to Kobayashi, and he's not ready yet. I wouldn't want to rush him, so I think he's a few years away. But obviously Kobayashi, I'd say Sammy Pugh. I think we have another guy that we drafted recently too. Oh yeah, this guy, John Bonner. He's a long shot, but we do have a couple potential third basemen, especially Kobayashi. But obviously that's an area that definitely needs more depth to it because once we lose Schneider, we won't have a backup for Pip. And if Pip gets injured, likely the move I would be making is moving Ray McMahon over to third base. I honestly might do that for the start of the season already, though, just because we're already losing a bit of depth. So there's that. So yeah, Steve is going to head to the free agent market this year. And I hope that we have enough money to sign everybody else that we want back. Let's go no. Okay, so 40-man roster stuff. Boy, this is going to get super annoying. Oh, we also have salary arbitration on all these guys. So obviously how much years does Bobby have? 3 years. Oh yeah, if you go to a certain amount of time, he wants a lot. Let's just send most of these guys to arbitration, to be honest. Yeah, we're going to bring most of these guys to arbitration here. Just because I want to make sure that I can afford them all. Montero, oh, some of them I might not bring to arbitration, to be honest. Pineda's not really super expensive if you go super long-term, but I don't really want to give a long-term contract out, I think, at this rate with the money situation, so I'm just going to offer arbitration on all these guys for now. Let's see, Brian Morris as well. Carrillo. Might as well use the arbitration stuff we have. Doug Rubel as well. Might as well give you arbitration. And then Buster Cross, I think, is gone because he's dropped off a lot. He's not been in a roster really that much the last few years, so he's going to be gone. And I'm not really sold on Montero at all, and we have guys coming up in the system. So I think William Montero is also going to be leaving the team. He does have ARB years left, but I don't think he's worth whatever the arbitration offer is. And he's trying to get not really a whole lot of money, but he's not really worth that type of money even anyways. So yeah, Montero's going to leave the team too. Montero's going to leave as well, and same with Buster Cross. Let's go to tender contracts, get that done with, and then we'll go to the 40-man roster stuff. But let's go through this. Oof. Jeez. How much years before you're a free agent? Quite a while. Okay, let me go back to those guys and eventually. Let's go to the bottom of this list and release some of these, or just leave some of these guys that aren't going to pan out and we never drafted them. They're just like roster filler, basically. But let's start with the players that we actually all drafted. So we can fill out our AA and AAA rosters. But yeah, this is going to be a pricey offseason. And I'm hoping that we'll have more money next year. I think we will because guys like Cal, Sixto will be making less and less money each year. So I hope that it will help us in terms of our cap situation a little bit. So let's just get all these guys signed up, especially the ones we drafted. Unless there's like kind of a logjam where we can't really fit them in. I hope some of these guys start developing well enough. Because some of them haven't really grown too much, but... And if we have too much people on our roster, obviously we'll have to cut some people, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Yeah, see, like Montenegro, for example, is not really panning out, which kind of sucks, but oh well. Some of these guys have had their potentials drop off a lot. I actually didn't adjust the potentials yet that Nick mentioned, because he did mention that a few episodes ago, so I will have to do that after this episode ends, so you'll see some potential changes at the start of the year, so... I meant to do that before I recorded this episode, but I completely forgot. So I'll do that definitely between the next episode, or this episode and the next episode. So right before we get to like spring training and all that. Hopefully the draft ahead is a good one as well, though, because we definitely need to just make sure that we're adding as much depth as possible to our team, because obviously we're going to get to a stage where guys are going to retire, and that's going to hurt us more than letting them go to free agency. Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of these guys we drafted, which is awesome, though. It's kind of cool to build up a team from nothing. Let's go 1-year deal, 700,000. Accept that, please. There you go. And yeah, hopefully we get more development from guys like Howard Springer, because obviously that's a big piece of the future, potentially. Some of these guys, though, like I said, have not really done much, which kind of sucks. We are going to let go of Fletcher Hoffman, I think, though. I think, yeah, he's... That's if it's more than 1 year. I could always hold on to him for the depth purposes, but I don't really know if I need to. I'll double check the second base category soon. See if we actually need another second base or not. Because if we need a second base for AAA, why not? But if we don't, then I probably don't need to bring him back. So, okay, Becker was nobody I drafted. That was just a guy that they randomly gave me. Manny Colon. Yeah, we have a lot of pitchers. Like, I don't know who's going to be in a rotation next year, who's going to be a relief pitcher, who's going to be back in triple. Johannes Berg, he was actually pretty decent off the bench. We'll give him a 1-year deal, I think. Yeah, we'll give him a 1-year deal. Why not? Dominguez, there's a bit of a logjam of starting pitchers. I honestly might let him walk. He was actually really good, though, in a short span. And was that in AAA? No, that was in the MLB. He's a decent player, but he's 36. And we already have a lot of starting pitchers. So yeah, I think I'm going to let him walk. Even if he was good, he was nobody I drafted, so I would probably rather not hold on to him anyways. And rather give chances to guys like Delmon Rangel over him, so. And like Ron Francisco, because we got a lot of guys that are in the 74, 75 range at the moment, so. Who is going to make it to the majors? Johnny Almont's another guy that's getting closer to being on the cusp of the MLB, which is exciting because I think he was one of our first round picks a few years back. So that's going to be exciting to see if he's able to make that jump. Okay, now we get to some of the MLB kind of guys. How long till Kenny's a free agent? Still a number of years. So yeah, we'll give him the 2-year deal. That's fine. Ray McMahon. Ooh. How long till he's a free agent? Still a long time. I like Ray actually a lot, and I think he's going to be in the majors next year. So what's the lowest I could probably get him for? 3 years at 3.6. Let's do it. Carmen Osuna. Let's do that just to 2 years at 1.6 for now. Gomez. Let's just do... Actually, how long to year free agent? 4 years. And you were asking for a 2-year deal. Yeah, that's fine. It's like a little bit of a bridge contract. Why not? Pablo Silva. Ooh. That's not bad, actually, to be honest. I mean, he wasn't good in a regular season, though, so I don't know if he's going to be that good next year like he was in the playoffs or what. Like, he's a weird player. Still a while before he's a free agent, too, so let's just do a 2-year deal, like a little bit of a trial run for him. As we know, he's terrible in the regular season, but he was really good in that one playoff game. And if he's good like that in the regular season, he will be a really good player, but we don't know if that for sure. And then Guzman, how many years before you're a free agent again? A while still. Let's do a 3-year deal. I'm okay with that, I think. I'm okay with that. I'm excited to see, though, where like Schneider signs, and hopefully he doesn't do good since leaving us, but I think it makes sense with the standpoint with our team right now to not bring him back. So 3 years at 6.6. That's good for me. Okay, I was going to check second base quickly. Yeah, we could technically, I think, still use Fletcher Hoffman in the AAA area. Yes, we have Trevino in the MLB, Carrillo as well in the MLB. Hoffman would be AAA, and then these guys would be like triple and double. Actually, Shartner technically could play already in AAA to replace Hoffman, and Lugo could be AA. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to bring back Fletcher Hoffman because I want Shartner in AAA. Because he might not have a high potential, but he's got a high overall out of the gate. He could actually play a lot of positions, which is good too. But I want to get him in the lineup next season, so I'm not going to bring him back. Okay, so yeah, Montero is also gone, which is kind of an interesting one. So let's get to the 40-man roster stuff. A lot of these guys have potential, but they're not all going to develop. Soto is definitely a guy I should add to my 40-man roster. Let me actually go to my 40-man roster. Who shouldn't be on this? Who shouldn't be on this? Well, Buster Cross is being let go of, so we will have freed up space. But who was it that I need to add again? Yeah, I would probably add Soto and Taveras. Maybe Taveras. Actually, he's not really developing much, so maybe not. Soto for sure, though, will be added to the 40-man roster. Anybody else that needs to be added? I feel like the rest of these guys are probably not going to reach that potential because these are apparently the best players we could lose. And most of them are like low overalls and they're 25. So I could add Taveras, but... could add Taveras. But who would I drop for the 40-man roster? Let me actually just remove somebody like Buster Cross. Yeah, because he's already going to be getting let go of anyways. Somebody like Tom Becker as well. Because we're just letting those guys walk anyways. So that's okay. There we go. We have a couple spots freed up. Also, this Dominguez guy. He's gone. All the rest of these guys could stay on our 40-man, I think. Yep. Everybody else here is good for the 40-man. So, we have a couple spaces available. Do I want to add Pete Taveras? I'm not sure if somebody would take Pete Taveras or not. He's one of our better relievers in the system. He's got good Ks and 9, good hits and 9. You know, I think I'm going to add him to our 40-man for now just because I don't want to play it to the point where I feel like this team is going to lose him. So yeah, we're going to add him to our 40-man, but I think everybody else should be okay. Like, even if somebody gets claimed from our non-40-man, that's okay because some of those guys, I don't know if they'll reach their potentials, to be honest. So, like Montenegro, he's Not really going to develop much more, but he might get taken. So, same with Ono. Segura, I'm okay with obviously going because he's never really panned out. So there is all that. We are finally ready, I think, to advance to free agency 2. So let's advance to free agency 2 and see where Schneider signs, if he does sign somewhere, which he might. Okay, so Tom Becker got claimed, but we don't care about that. Dominguez has been claimed. We don't care about that because we were going to let them walk anyways. Let's see. Actually, let me skip this for a sec. Let's stop simulating. Yeah, let's stop simulating for a second. Wow, our like depth chart type of thing looks pretty good in terms of not having any red. I like it. Let's see. So still a couple guys are waiting on contracts. We are definitely going to go with those other guys that don't have contracts offered to them. Those guys have arbitration still offered to them. And 40-man roster wise, wait, let me take a look at this. Yeah, that's good. Let me take a look at the free agent market again for a second. Yeah, Steve is still there. He has no offers at the moment. I'm curious to where he's going to sign. If he's going to sign anywhere. Yeah, that's all good. Montero is going to head to the free agent market too. So, don't need him back. Okay, let's see. Any former players leaving and signing with another team yet? Those guys are all headed to the free agent market. Those guys are all qualified. Is Schneider still a free agent? He is. Still has no offers. If he's still a free agent at the start of the season and his asking price drops off a lot, maybe I'd bring him back just to play it safe. But we only have $18 million in budget, which is not really a whole lot. So he'd eat like half of that at least at the moment. And we do have all these guys qualified, which most of them are going to get a little bit of a pay raise. So we don't really have a lot of money to necessarily spend on former players if there's any of them. Yeah, let's stop simulating for a second and check if Schneider is gone yet. So I want to know where he goes. He is still a free agent. Okay. We might have to take a look at the start of the season where these guys go. Okay, so we got arbitration, I think, soon. Which hopefully all these guys don't get super overpaid, but we had to take them all to arbitration. Bobby Hyde's the best of the bunch. Same with Ken Robert, Pineda, Morris, and there's a couple guys that are more like AAA kind of players in a sense, but still. Okay, let's skip through this, skip through that. Let's take a look and see if Schneider is gone. He is not. He is still there. And somehow Rafael Devers is still playing at this stage. 38. God damn. Interesting. Okay, let's go to the Rule 5 draft. Oh yeah, we have the draft lottery, but obviously we do not have a draft lottery selection because we were not in the non-playoff teams. But let's see who wins it anyways. The Orioles have the top odds, so we might as well still just do this even though it doesn't really affect us. But let's see who ends up getting number 1 in the 2034 draft, I guess it is, or is it 35? I don't know. But the Dodgers have the first pick, and then it's the Tigers, then the Royals. So there we go. We're drafting at 27 this year. Hopefully we're able to grab another good late round steal, or hopefully somebody falls a lot to us, because we haven't necessarily done super well drafting that late yet, but if we can, that would be really great. So let's keep on going. Keep on going. And Rule 5 draft. Do we want to pick anybody in the Rule 5? Probably not, but we'll see anyways if there's anything to help us out. Usually I try to take a player every single year, but this year I don't know if I want to. Our pitching is already really solid. Don't really need that. Because, yeah, our rotation should be pretty good this year. So, relief pitcher-wise, there is actual default relief pitchers, but they're all like 30 and above. Like, some of these guys are pretty solid. Like, this Carmona guy looks okay. But I don't really know if I want a full-on relief pitcher. We don't really need closers. We know that. Catcher-wise, don't really need another catcher. First baseman-wise, we already brought in Jonas Berg last year, so don't really need another one. Second base-wise, don't really need one. Third base-wise, we could technically use a second third baseman behind Pip if he gets injured. And Christopher Rangel is there. 33 years old, though. Not the best player. There's also Cedric Array, 28. Third base would probably be the smart area to do, but I don't really like the looks of these guys. Like, their stats are kind of average, so not really into any of those guys, to be honest. Shortstop-wise, if I moved McMahon over to third base, I could always use another shortstop behind Pinheiro, considering he did get injured last year. Let's see. Raul Rodriguez, Pedro Martinez. Yeah, I'm not really sold on a lot of these guys in this Row 5 draft. Don't really need another left fielder. Center fielding wise, don't need really another center fielder especially. And we don't really need any right fielders. I don't think I'm going to claim anybody here. Like, it would probably be a smart move to pick up another third baseman behind Pip. Just because we know Pip has had some injury troubles in the past. And he's going to be the number 1 third baseman on this team now. But I'm not sold on these guys' stats. But they would probably be better to have than having Kobayashi just randomly be in the MLB. I guess if Pip gets injured, like I said, I move McMahon over to third base and he could play in third base spot. If Pinheiro gets injured, obviously McMahon becomes the number 1 shortstop. If both Pinheiro and Pip get injured somehow, that's when we get into trouble. Which I don't think is likely that both of them go down with big injuries. So I don't think I'm going to claim anybody here. I do not think I'm going to. I'm going to skip my selection for the first time in quite a while. Normally I always claim a player, like I said, but I think this year is a little bit different for us based on our salary situation. So, okay, so now that that is done, let's sim to those arbitration hearings and see what the guys get paid. And see where our former players signed, if any of them are signing anywhere. Skip through all that. Okay, so renewable contracts. Yeah, it shows that we're weaker at shortstop actually now, which is interesting. Well, let's see. So Doug Rubel will be getting $2.27 million. So that's pretty expensive, but he might be in his last year of this deal with this team, to be honest, because we got guys in the system. Pedro Carrillo is getting 1.5. That's not terrible. Bobby Hyde's getting 2.345. Yeah, I knew he was going to get a good chunk. But it's good that I had 18 million, so at least we're able to afford all these guys, because if I only had, like, say, 10 million, that would be in a little bit of a risky territory with these guys that need contracts. Brian Morris is only getting $400,000, which kind of makes sense because of his injury that he suffered in the last year, and he wasn't really good last year, so there we go. So that's all set up and ready to go. Let me check if there's any former players still in free agency, which it looks like Schneider has signed a contract somewhere, so that's exciting. And relief pitcher-wise, looks like Montero is gone too. Or actually, starting pitcher-wise, Montero is gone. So our former players did sign somewhere. The question is, where did those guys sign? Let's send them to spring training first. Ken Robert also gets 3.34, which is a lot. And Pineda gets 1.9. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that we managed to let go of Schneider, because or else we probably wouldn't have had the money to bring those guys back. So let me stop the sim for a second here, make sure we're good to go. Yeah, we're good. Perfect. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got. Also, contract extension wise, I'll show you guys what contracts are up this upcoming off season, but let's see what we have right now with our roster. So you can definitely see our pitching rotation is starting to improve a lot. We got Howe, we got Hyde, we got Silva, Gomez, Osuna, Sparbori, we got Ollinger. Almont's getting kind of close. Same with like guys like Cora, Francisco, Brian Morris, Murillo. There's a logjam of pitchers here. And then even Brian Zinn, who we just drafted like last year, he's going to be a 72 out of the gate. So we have a lot of questions on who should be in the MLB roster, who should be a reliever, and who should be the starters. So that's going to be exciting. Relief pitcher-wise, we got Birch, Rubel, and Taveras. Taveras likely will be back in AAA. Closing pitcher-wise, we got Lake, Guzman, and Robert. 3 of those guys are really good. Obviously, one of these relief pitchers or starting pitchers will have to be a closer, probably in double and triple, but that's okay. We should probably draft a closer soon, too, because get more in the system, because eventually one of these guys will probably be gone. Catcher-wise, we got Sixto and Thornton. Halpern and Davies are likely back down at triple and double. Halpern does have to go through waivers, which is not great, but it honestly might have to happen. And then Davies does not go through waivers, which is good. First baseman-wise, we got Ozzy, who's 29 now. We also got Berg still. And then Chu is likely going to be back down. Oh, no. I didn't realize... I didn't realize Chu was on his last minor league option, or he used his last minor league option. Chu technically should be on the MLB roster to start the season. Technically. Which puts Berg in a weird spot. Berg technically is better and 1 year younger, but Chu has the potential to becoming really good, so I don't know what we do about that. Chu can play second and third base. We could use Chu as a third baseman behind Pip. That's a possibility. That actually might be what I end up doing, because that way we actually get him to stay in our roster. Second baseman-wise, we got Trevino and Carrillo. Shartner obviously down there in Double-A. Third baseman-wise, we got Pip, and then after that, there's nobody, so that's probably why I would move Chu over to third base. Shortstop-wise, we got Pinheiro and McMahon. We also got Springer still, Sanchez as well. Left fielding-wise, we got Steiner and Suarez, who's going to be still in double, maybe triple. Center fielding-wise, we got Gelman, Pineda, and Groves. And then right fielding-wise, we got O'Donnell, and that's it. Rodriguez would get sent back down. So, all in all, our roster looks really good. Like, if we look at our pitching rotation right now, how's it set up for spring training? I'd say we have definitely a lot of questions on who we want to use as a reliever, a starter, that type of thing. It's going to be exciting to see that. And our lineup in itself right now is still looking pretty good, considering we lost Schneider. So, very excited to see what happens this season, for sure. Okay, final few things. We'll take a look at the contract extensions we have up for renewal this upcoming offseason. We'll also take a look at the top prospects in the MLB. And finally, we'll see where Schneider and Montero signed this offseason. So, let's take a look at those contracts. So, Gelman, obviously, and Hyde. Bobby Hyde is probably going to be the most expensive one, or the one we would want to bring back the most, because he's a good reliever. Ken Robert, I honestly might have to let him walk soon, because we have already like 2 closers locked up, I think, for a little bit. Jeff Pipp's a pending free agent. We got Sparbory, Pineda. There's a lot of guys. Not a lot of huge talent, I would say, but still some very notable players. Top 50 prospects. Let's take a look at this. So, Lincoln Dillon is apparently the best prospect in baseball, rightfully so, for the Detroit Tigers. They drafted him last year, and he was one of the really good potential players. But we do have Howard Springer making his debut at 9 this season. Pretty good. So there you go on Springer. Then do we have anybody else? We have Kobayashi at 20. That's nice. We have Suarez at 23. We have Fletcher Sanchez and Johnny Almont at 33 and 34. We have Fernando Cora at 45 and John Bonner at 47. Damn. So that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 prospects in the top 50. So that's pretty good considering we're a contending team and we have still top prospects. I like that. And if you look at our rankings right now, at least going into spring training, we're pretty good in mostly everything, and our pitching is still improving, which is really, really good. So I like that. Our defense has also improved, apparently. Last thing we wanted to take a look at is where Schneider went. If I can search that already, which I can. That's good. Let's see where Schneider signed and Montero, because I don't remember who else I let go of, and it's probably not as important. Schneider has signed with the Seattle Mariners on a 3-year contract at $5.7. Not really overpaid, but he's going to be in our division, I think. So that's kind of interesting. So shout out to Steve Schneider getting a multi-year deal. I was thinking he was going to get like a trial year, but he didn't. And then we also got to take a look at Mr. William Montero, who's probably due for a not great season, I guess. He signed with Houston. So that's another team, I think, in our division, if I'm not mistaken. He is getting 2 years at 1.6, so he's barely getting anything, but he is getting a chance to play with the Astros. So there's that. Also, I wanted to show you guys how McAllister did last year. Gary McAllister did, because I honestly looked at his stats halfway through the season and I completely forgot about showing you guys. So might as well see how he did in his first year with the Dodgers. He still has 2 years left on his contract. His first year, he went 11-14, had a good ERA, good WHIP, and a better FIP than last year, not by much, but yeah, he definitely had a good, and I'd say a okay year, all things considered. Would that have been nice to have in our lineup last season in the playoffs? Maybe, but it's tough to tell. I think he's going to be starting to drop off soon, though, because he's 31, so I don't know, and he's making 7.9, which is a lot of money still, so there is that on Gary. And I think that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of our Vancouver Reign Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will start scouting out the upcoming draft for 2035 to see what we are able to snag up in the draft. And hopefully we're able to get some pretty good prospects to just continue building up this pool. And hopefully this team gets off to a good start and doesn't get into injury trouble again this season, because I think this is the time where we want to start winning World Series. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.